Hey, if you don't know me, my name's Cameron Safak, and I like to draw. It's my first time doing a video like this. We're outside in a trail by my house. You might hear some cars in the background and whatnot, but yeah, here with a blank canvas. Um, I don't know. I kind of have an idea of what I want to draw, but kind of just wanted to talk as I'm doing it. So let's get into it. I'm using a Sharpie, permanent marker, chisel tip. You feel me? But here we go. I don't know how sturdy this is, so like you might see me holding it to get a certain angle and whatnot, but that that should be okay. All right. No, just kidding. So I guess for me, people ask me like, how do you get into drawing and whatnot? Drawing for me is like, I don't know. It's one of those things where you can kind of like show something um, that not a lot of people are you know seeing that's going on. That's how I look at drawing. Drawing is a way to kind of express, the forbidden or the unseen, as Rick Rubin would say. One book that I actually have been getting really into is called The Creative Act. One of my homies, Abdul, shout out Abdul, I was cutting his hair one day and he was telling me that the way I was looking at life was very similar to how this book was being described, and this book now is I'm reading it and it's very good. But like, why is it good? Well, it's good because like I have been able to see that like there's other artists out there that can kind of describe what I'd like to say I've been going through, or just like thinking about too as an artist. A big thing with being an artist is, one, it's like it's the label. It's like there's systems out there now like social media and it's mainly just social media, trying to tell the people, oh, if you identify as an artist or a video creator, this is like what you're going to be for the rest of your life. And I just, I don't really like that. But at the same time, if I were to put myself in any of the categories, it would be artist. Many of you know, or some of you know, that I actually I cut hair. That's where like one of my brands came from, Camps Cuts. It was in my past logo, or in my past videos, I'd use it as a um, just like an ending clip thing or whatever. I'd pop the logo up. That was my logo. And so um, that logo now has been a part of like my creative process for a while. And let that airplane fly by. With that, you know, I feel like a lot of the stuff that I do, I try to tie it to the brand. You try to make it say, oh, whatever I do now, this is like for the brand. And I think a lot of artists have also fallen into that same um, trap, I'd like to say sometimes. At the start, don't get me wrong, like when I was making art or making stuff for the Camps Cuts brand, it was fun because I didn't care about the numbers. And then as I got older, I started caring a little bit more about the numbers, because with the numbers, you know, you actually have um, something to measure your artwork uh, like based upon. You know, the numbers allowed me to try to turn what I love to do and make it into a business. Which like I was cutting hair, so it's like obviously that's already kind of a business in itself. But every time I cut hair, I look at it like art. It's art. Um, but now, if that art's gonna take me, an hour or two, it's like I'm gonna charge what I think is reasonable. So that's where the business side came into effect. But what's it called? Being that that is how it is, A lot of like the side ventures that I would do, like making clothes and stuff. I genuinely love to make clothes. Like this piece that I'm wearing right now is like one of my first custom pieces alongside of my pants that I've designed, like cargo pants, they're called. But um, in terms of like the business sort of thing, it's kind of hard to continue making clothes and making art if you're not seeing like the return, and I think that's where a lot of people stop is if they don't get what they're looking for, if it's the views, if it's the subscribers, if it's whatever, they stop. But the key part of what I've been realizing is you actually have to love it. Like you see the people that are blowing up like crazy and whatnot. It's like they actually love what they do, and I love what I do. I'm in school right now and I love it. I love everything that school has brought in me or what I've learned from it. And, you know, I, I wouldn't trade it for the world. Um, so being out here and making art like this, it's definitely different. I've first time doing this, but, obviously I got a little inspiration, a lot of inspiration from Bob Ross, but I've never seen something like this or art being made outside on canvas like this style. I mean, it's not like I'm doing it to, be the first one to do it. I just haven't seen it, and it was something that was always, you know, kind of like interesting to me to see if I could make it happen. So like right now, I'm drawing like a tree fort. So this background behind this tree fort is at my grandma's house. She has like a decent amount of land, and I used to build um, tree forts all the time in her backyard. Now, these tree forts weren't the most stable, I'd say, but they definitely got the job done. There was one tree that I didn't do much research about, and I put a pallet up there to start a tree fort, and that tree fort ended up, or that tree that the tree fort was in ended up being like a pine tree, so it was very sappy, and I just kind of left it up there. But I made like a couple smaller ones, and the fact that you could have a house in a tree was so fucking cool to me. I was like, wow, you can just like go in a tree and stay there and hang out. So a tree fort is something that I enjoy. What's it called? Enjoyed a lot, like growing up and whatnot. It was funny too, cause like when I came out here to find this spot, I like stumbled upon some like rope and a stick. And another thing is I used to make like a lot of bow and arrows and stuff growing up. And the bow and arrows kind of stemmed from like, you know, just wanting to like build a weapon, but like my dad wasn't super big into like guns and whatnot. So I had to, find the next best thing. And for me um it was a bow and arrow, you know. Gotta get the dreads in there. It was a bow and arrow. And bow and arrows were just always cool to me. I've never gotten into like combat bows or whatever you call it. But yeah, I always liked the idea though of them. I always thought they were pretty cool and whatnot. It'd just be funny if someone's like walking down the trail and then they just like stop to just watch. Might happen, but we'll see. But yeah, this piece doesn't really have a name, but like when I start putting it together, you'll see what I'm trying to go for too, in terms of what I want it, like the picture I want it to paint or to draw. I don't know. You can beat out of it. But yeah, I don't know. I do a lot of like self-reflecting in terms of like the way that the world works, and it's very fascinating. It's very cool to see that there is a system that's built upon like hard work and making people rich and stable. I think stable is the best word to use because a lot of the times like we maybe start off trying to think like I'm trying to be so rich, da 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 da, and then it ends up like I'm just trying to be stable, bro. Like I'm just trying to be able to do something that will um, bring stability to my life, and the rest is history, you know. And I think like the concept of money is crazy, like on how it changes, you know. Like recently, I upped the price of my haircuts, you know, and the reason I did that was because this school year, um, I actually haven't had the ability to cut as much hair as I'd like. So then um, I had to, you know, do something, you know, to make a little bit more, and I had to pay tuition. And I paid my tuition like after pulling out every single loan I can, you know, I pay that tuition out of pocket with the haircut money. So it's like I raised it, but I raised it just, you know, so I could survive a little bit. You know, you get some people are like, bro, why'd you do that? And it's like, if you really like don't want me to cut your hair, you know, I don't have to cut your hair. But you know, I think I do a good job. But that's just, you know, that's just me. Um, so yeah, nature has always been like I think a place in my heart to just obviously all of us, you know, we're human, can't really avoid it. But what I'm trying to get at with this piece is I feel like the system of, you know, trying to hustle all the time is kind of like holding us back too from experiencing nature to the fullest at times. You know, like, oh, let's go outside, let's go do this. It's like, oh, I don't want to. It's like, why? It's like, oh, because I have to go work on this for work. It's like, bro, it's past working hours. Like, let's go do something fun. It's like, yeah, but you know, I gotta keep going hard and keep making money, and or even keep going hard and then like strain yourself out. What I've come to realize with like being in college too, you know, I'm still trying to figure this shit out in terms of like routine and whatnot, but a lot of it is really just, yeah, routine. Um, to have a consistent routine, because it's like in order to have balance in this chaotic ass world, in my opinion, you need to have a system of some routine. So yeah, I mean, my routine is just trying to like optimize or practice the things I know I have to do. Like if it's a project or something, make sure I do that project and I can work on it like a little bit every day. Because then when you do that, you know, you're able to prioritize time to like balance the other things that you care about in your life. You know, how are we gonna do this? I want to add cars, but the angles might be a little fucked up, like on how to view them. But I'm still gonna say fuck it and try. It's another thing. Say fuck it and try. You feel me? Like trying is, I think, the hardest thing to do as humans, because a lot of the time it's really fucking easy to just give up, you know, and say, okay, I don't want to try something new, or I don't want to like branch myself out to discover what else I can achieve. It's like, yes, we do, but a lot of the times we don't get out of our comfort zone, you know. And for me, like getting out of my comfort zone is coming up with like a crazy ass plan and then holding myself accountable to do it when, you know, that spark of inspiration comes. The thing with this, like to do something like this too, from my opinion, it's like it took a lot of willpower, but not really. Like it stemmed from me going out and going for a walk and being like, you know, I need to walk away from everything, all the fast-paced life, all the what you call it. And from doing that, I found this tree on this path. And I'm like sitting at this tree and I'm like, okay, I need to, you know, just reflect and see what's going on. Like, how am I looking at life? Da da da. Step away from all the distractions, you know, social media, um, YouTube, all that, and just really like try to find time for myself to be bored, because I always say like boredom is, your best friend for your next creative venture. And I believe that to be very true, because when I'm bored, you just randomly come up with like things that you may want to do, um, to like fill that boredom. But now when that happens, it's like, okay, a lot of the times we hold ourselves back from pursuing that because we have other things going on, like work and school and whatnot. But it's like if you push just a little bit further, you're able to find that like sense of clarity to go do, your hobby. And I think like a lot of a lot of the times, like our hobbies that we have don't get, enough attention as we'd like. It's like, oh, I'm gonna wait till the weekend to do that. Or I'm gonna I mean, it's fucking Friday and I'm doing this because I was busy as a week. But like the previous days, I was working on like other side hobbies or whatnot, or even just like reading. Like found a lot of peace in reading, because I think that what's it called? Reading is so like powerful, because it helps open like another way of life, essentially, to us that we might not have even known was out there. I'm just rambling right now, but you know what I'm trying to say? Like when I read, I get sucked into like a whole nother world, you know? And that reading, it not only is improving my comprehension skills, but it's like improving my speech, it's improving my thinking, it's improving my vocabulary. It's also improving like just my confidence to say things, and to make sure that I have some type of a clear speech going on. So yeah, I that's how I look at reading, and I think a lot of us should try to get back into books. It sounds hard because, in my opinion, reading's like doing push-ups. That's what I tell some of my homies. Like, bro, I gotta read. I gotta read more. And I'm like, bro, it's like just doing push-ups. It's like you want to get fit, go do the push-ups, go run, go do what you got to do. And reading's one of those things, because a lot of the times when we're out, um, you know, out and about trying to find something to relax our mind, we end up doing what? Find a movie or watch a TV show or watch YouTube. And it's like, yes, of course, I know this is going on YouTube and you're watching this right now and you're like, bro, fuck this guy. Why is he talking shit about me? Right? No, no, no. I'm saying that like if you prioritize moments to relax in non-distracting ways, so like reading or walking or whatever, then when you come back to do something like this, it feels a little bit more like fulfilling. Like if you go back and watch like a YouTube video or movie, like I'm probably gonna go watch a movie after this because this kind of balanced it out. I'm outside, whatever, touching grass and shit. But it's like if you're always inside, your body kind of lacks that nature aspect too, that I think a lot of us need to tap back into, because that's something I needed to tap back into was the nature side of things, because like I was saying at the beginning of this, I was always outside. I was always trying to be outside and um, like just experience life. But then over time, the system of trying to be rich and wealthy and all that stuff kind of like started to take over. And it's not like that's a bad thing, because you're trying to survive in the position that you're in. But it started to become bad for me when I was neglecting this. I wasn't putting time towards this. I wasn't putting time towards trying to go back outside and experience this nature shit. Like this nature shit is what's going to keep us whole and sane, so then we can go back to doing this. But it's like if I catch myself being too depressed or whatnot, it's mainly because I haven't gone for a walk or whatnot, or I haven't held myself accountable to accomplish the goals that I said I was going to. That's that's the reality of it, in my opinion. So yeah, this piece I think depicts a lot of how I've envisioned my life, just growing up and whatnot make this look a little bit, just sad. But it's like it's good though, it's good to work and stack bread and make money, but there's the balance, you gotta have that balance. So yeah, I believe in every single one of you watching this though, like whatever dreams and goals that you think that you can achieve, I know you can achieve it. It's just coming down to, do you believe you can achieve it? There's a lot of times I don't even think I can achieve the goals that I set for myself or try to accomplish, because it's like, I don't know, I don't think that I could do it at times. But then when I like really try to find what I'm passionate about, that aligns with the goals. So another thing too is maybe think about the goals that you have and ask yourself, does this align with what I'm passionate about? But yeah, that's all I had to say. Sign it, seal it. Bang bang. That's the piece. Hope you enjoy.